to my channel, The Jaded Baker, and in today's video we are going to do another rating recipes. Rating recipes is a series on my channel where I take recipes that you see on the internet and I put them to the test and score them in 3 different ways. Number 1, were the instructions clear? Were they easy to follow? Number 2, did the end result look like the product in the picture or the video? And number 3, did the end result even taste good? Which in my opinion is by far the most important part of the entire scoring system. At the end of the video, I take each of those scores of 1 to 5, average them together, and then give you a final score of what I rate the entire recipe to see if it's worth a try and if you should do it at home. Now that we're all stuck at home and everybody is at home baking, I feel like everybody has been going towards banana bread. I've been making banana bread for a very long time using a family recipe, but I thought it would be interesting to take a recipe that I've seen online that's really popular and put it to the test. So for the banana bread recipe I picked is actually from Bon Appetit, and they basically are calling it BA's best banana bread ever. Bon Appetit's banana bread recipe is actually on their website, so I'm going to have my Kindle here going through the recipe while I make it along with you guys. I have some of the ingredients written down here and we're going to rate this banana bread recipe. I think it's important before we start this video to pay kudos to my shirt because it's the only yellow shirt I own, and since I'm doing a banana bread video, kind of wanted to low-key look like a giant banana. Alright, before we get into this, I'm going to have a little sip of the coffee. Oh, by the way, my last video was actually how I make my French press coffee. So if you're interested in that, making super easy French coffee, check out my latest video and I'll have it linked down below also. Very much so total self-promotion. I'm completely aware of it, but subscribe. So for this recipe, you should have a loaf pan if you want to make your banana bread, but honestly, you don't have to have one of these. You could just take any baking dish that you have and kind of use tin foil to make a loaf shape. Or you don't even have to use a loaf. You can use like any cupcake pans that you have, cake pans, whatever. It just won't be in the shape of a actual loaf. But anything you have is fine. I just happen to have one of these. The recipe calls for preheating the oven to 350 and then putting some parchment paper in the bottom of it so it doesn't stick, and then also using vegetable oil to spray around the sides. Just so when the banana bread is ready, it easily comes out of the loaf and you're not like destroying it, trying to get it out to where it turns into like a banana crumble. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm going to put my parchment paper down, put the loaf pan on the bottom, and then take a pencil or a pen or even a knife and go around the bottom. So that way it's cutting the bottom and not the top edge, because the top edge is way too big.
That's what she said.
You need the bottom only. So that's a little trick you can use. You can use that for cakes, you can use that for anything if you're trying to line the bottom of a pan. I'm just gonna use a little knife to go all the way around. Who knew this was going to consist of a little arts and crafts moment? So this little piece is going to fit perfectly in there. I like to use this vegetable spray from Walmart. It's easy to use because it's in a spray. They have olive oil like this and also coconut oil, which I really like to cook with. Little sprayage. All right, and there you have it. Okay, the very first ingredients that we're gonna use are the dry ingredients for this. All right, so I'm gonna start off with the flour. All right, so in this bowl, I have all of my dry ingredients that is called for. Started off with the flour, baking soda, and the salt in here, ready to go. And now we're gonna move on to the wet ingredients. All right, the wet ingredients for this is pretty straightforward and simple, and probably in most banana nut recipes. We have unsalted butter, 1/4 cup, which these little Land of Lakes things are perfect because this little block is already 1/4 cup, so it's really easy to use. You don't have to measure too much. And then we have eggs. Then it also calls for sour cream or plain whole milk Greek yogurt. I'm gonna use sour cream because that's what I have on hand. That's not something I usually put in my banana nut bread, so I'm very interested to see how that affects the outcome of the banana bread that I normally make. I'm going to go out on a limb, and it's going to make it the M word that I hate. Moist. Ugh. Sorry if any of you don't like it because I hate it, but it should be making it that. Dewy, juicy, that even sounds gross. The M word. Okay, so I'm gonna start on the wet ingredients. The next part says to go ahead and beat together using a hand mixer our sour cream and our 1/4 cup butter and kind of get it going until it's light and fluffy. And then we'll add more of the other wet ingredients, which are going to be the eggs. Pretty straightforward so far. I'm really liking this recipe. It's easy, simple, throwing in some fun little mystery items, so should be pretty good so far. I wanted to pop in real quick and say that the dry ingredients, everything was added except brown sugar. That gets added at this step with the butter, and what I'm using is sour cream. It's gonna get beaten together. Okay, so I have my butter in there, my sour cream, and then now I'm going to add the brown sugar, and then I'm gonna mix them all together and then add the eggs. So here we go. For this, you don't actually have to use an electric mixer if you want to. You can just add a spatula, especially if your butter was room temperature. You can go ahead and beat it. Just make sure you're doing it appropriately where it mixes together really well. I'm not gonna go and get my electric mixer. I'm gonna try this using this method because not everybody has an electric mixer. I'm gonna try this and give it a go. Okay, so the sour cream, butter, and our sugar are in here. And then I'm going to add our eggs and then beat those all together, and that will be the end of our wet ingredients. Okay, so after you have all those beat together, you're gonna need 2 eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and crack these, put these in there. Now I have my dry ingredients, which consist of the flour, the baking soda, and salt. And then over here are wet ingredients, which is our sour cream, our egg, our sugar, and then our butter is in here. So we're going to combine those two and make a little mixture going on here. I'm gonna let this sit here for just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and get my bananas and show you what they look like. Okay, these bananas need to be very ripe. These are maybe a little too ripe, but you want them to be very on the mushy side because you wanna be sure that you can fold them in together and they're not gonna be hard. So when you're searching for bananas, if you don't wanna make the banana bread soon, go ahead and just get green bananas if they have them, or really bright yellow bananas. But make sure that you can't really make the banana bread until later. You can, it just won't have that really nice banana flavor. You're gonna have to wait. But if you go to the store and get ones that have like brown on them already and then wait a couple of days where they get really ripe, they're the perfect bananas to use to make banana bread. Bon Appetit's recipe calls for 4 large bananas or 1.5 cups of mashed bananas. This should be plenty. So I'm gonna peel them, put them in a cup, mix them together, and then we're gonna add them to our wet and dry ingredients and then mix the gloriousness of it together to combine into a lovely banana nut bread mix. Going to go ahead and get these mashed up and get them ready for mixing. Does anybody else sing the Gwen Stefani Holla Back Girl song when they think of how to spell bananas? Bananas, just me? So far this recipe is very easy to follow. I'm really excited about that because Bon Appetit of course has their own YouTube channel, but they're also a magazine, and seeing something that's very easy that anyone can make, pretty good. I just used the bowl that the wet ingredients were in to put the bananas in, and then I'm going to take the spatula and just mash them up as much as I can to get them in a gooey, ooey, banana-y, baby food-like mixture. This smells, I mean, I know it's bananas. In your face, bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. All right, here is our banana mixture. They are all mashed, they are good. And now we're gonna add them to our wet and dry ingredients. And then we're gonna add the nuts, because you gotta have nuts. Family friendly! Fold it over like so. That's all that flour that's in there. Make sure you're scraping from the bottom. You're getting all that goodness. I wanted to show you guys what the mix looks like before I add the nuts to it, just how creamy and ooey gooey it gets. So this is the consistency that you kind of want for banana nut bread because it will pour into that pan. So with the Bon Appetit recipe so far, this is looking pretty good. Now let's add the nuts.
Well then you better nut up. Phrasing.
Now in this recipe, before I go with my nuts, you can also add 1/2 cup of bittersweet or semi-sweet chocolate, which is optional. I don't want to add chocolate to a banana nut recipe, and it does say it's optional in the recipe, so I'm technically not cheating. And it says optional, so I'm not cheating. No, don't say I'm cheating, because I'm not. Now for the nuts.
These nuts.
Keep saying nuts weird. I apologize in advance for all of the these nuts memes and videos that are probably going to be inserted in here. It does say to add 1/2 cup of walnuts, but where I'm from, what we really like to put in everything is pecan. I'm going to use these pecans. These are fresh, local owned pecans. So I'm gonna chop up a half a cup of these and put them into our mixture. And then I'll show you what the end result mixture looks like before we put it in the loaf pan and bake it and get us some nice banana nut bread. It says to do a half a cup, but that's not that many nuts. It doesn't really say how to chop the nuts up. I'm just gonna do them very coarse. Don't freaking bob it, you know, don't do that. That's a little aggressive. To make this go faster, I'm putting 2 nuts on top and cutting them. Wow, this video took a turn. Alrighty, so I have my half a cup of pecans. I'm gonna put them in our banana nut bread mixture, and then we're ready to freaking bake it. Oh, this smells so good. I don't know, the half a cup of nuts isn't really a lot of nuts. Bon appetit, you know, you're skipping out on the nuts here, you know, what's up with that? Alrighty, Roo, here's the mixture with the nuts added, and see what I mean? There's just not, half a cup of nuts isn't really doing it for me, but I'm gonna follow the recipe. I already kind of semi-cheated with the chocolate chips, but I'm not adding them. I don't know, kind of a little mark against Bon Appetit, you know, skipping out on the nuts a little bit, yo. Straight batter into prepared pan and smooth top. Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Loaf pan, ready to go. We oiled it, parchment paper in the bottom, ready to pour this goodiness in the pan. Now I don't know what size loaf pan they have, so this may make a little more than we need. Well, no, I stand corrected. There is definitely enough for one, okay. Bon appetit, measuring, wow. Why am I surprised that there's people out there that can actually do math correctly? A little slap to make sure it's good. There she is, Miss America. A little, I don't know. I know I keep bringing up the nuts.
These nuts
Thing, but it seems a little scarce. The recipe calls by Bon Appetit to, I did not preheat my oven. That's okay. Make sure you preheat your oven to 350, and then we're gonna cook this for exactly 1 hour. So we're gonna pop this bad boy in the oven, and I'll see you in 1 hour. All right, guys, the hour is up, and my banana bread has been sitting in the loaf pan, cooling down on this cooling rack. It looks very delicious. It browns on top in the pan. So what I'm gonna do now that it's cool is I'm gonna take it out of the loaf pan and put it on a plate so we can write this recipe. Just gonna take it, flip it over. It came right out of there with that parchment paper, so that's good. All right, this is our finished banana nut bread loaf. It looks delicious. It smells incredible. It smells so much like bananas. The top of it is super bouncy, and it's very moist. Ugh. That word will always be disgusting. So now that this is cooled off, I'm gonna slice it, and then we're gonna taste it, and then we will therefore have our scores and rating recipes. Before I dive into this banana bread, we have to rate the recipe. Remember, by the 3 points I said in the beginning of the video and by my rating recipe scale. So number 1, were the instructions clear? Number 2, did the end result end up looking like the end result of the recipe photos? And number 3, does it taste delicious? Let's start out with number 1, were the instructions clear? Absolutely. This was a very straightforward, easy recipe to follow. Scale of 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it a 5. Number 2, did the end result end up looking like the end result in the photos? Absolutely. They used a different size loaf pan than mine, so mine was a little bit squattier, and that's why I have a baby slice of this. This is actually the end, which is my favorite because it has that nice crunch on the outside. The only difference is, and that is my fault because I did the option where I did not put chocolate into my recipe. That's the only difference. But other than that, it really does look like your banana bread loaf that you would see on Bon Appetit's recipe site. On the rating, does it look like the end result from Bon Appetit? Absolutely. Scale of 1 to 5, giving it a 5. And number 3, probably my most favorite part, most important part, is does this banana bread taste delicious? So here we go. I'm gonna taste this right here, right now. I cannot wait because it smells absolutely divine. Yes, 100%. And it's not too sweet. It's delicious. The only thing I'm gonna knock it for, and I think you probably already guessed this, is I don't think a half a cup of nuts was what this recipe needed. So because of that, I'm gonna knock it down to about a 4, but I'm still gonna eat it. Overall, that gives this recipe a 14. Divide by 3, you get a very well done 4.7. So there you have it, guys. This banana nut recipe by Bon Appetit, 4.7, delicious, easy, very quick. Before I head out, I want to give you guys a thanks for watching my past 2 videos and supporting my channel. It's so awesome to interact with you guys and see you guys liking it, and also the rating recipes series. So I can't wait to do more of these. I hope you enjoyed this one, but thank you so much for watching my videos and subscribing and liking. It means a lot. So before you head out, please make sure you like this video and give it a thumbs up, and comment down below on any recipes that you see floating around on the interweb that you want to see me do. And also subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on this channel on The Jaded Baker. Side note, I do have another channel called Jaded Jones where I posted a lot of videos a long time ago, but I'm starting to post on that channel of different things that I'm interested, such as true crime, astrology, nostalgia things, fun stories, history. That channel is called Jaded Jones, and I'll link it down below so you can head over there if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Am I still rolling?